All right. Finding solid ground, an explainer on true stability. You know that feeling when the world just seems to be spinning? Like you're just trying to find your footing in the middle of a storm? Well, today we're going to dive into a couple of sources that get right to the heart of that feeling. They talk about what it really takes to find true, unshakable stability. And believe it or not, it all starts with a surprisingly simple and very physical sensation. So, one of our sources kicks things off with this just super honest line: I get seasick. And we're not just talking about, a queasy stomach on a boat trip. No, the author is describing this deep, physical disorientation, that feeling of being miserable, out of control, and just completely overwhelmed.
And this really gets to the core of what's happening, right? It's a total disconnect. Your eyes are telling you, hey, this cabin is stable, but your inner ear, your body, is feeling every single rock of the waves. It's a clash. And the only real cure? You gotta get your feet back on solid ground. And that physical reality? Well, it's the perfect metaphor for what we're diving into today.
So, think about it. What happens when that disconnect isn't just physical, in your inner ear, but it's happening in your soul? When what you say you believe and how you actually live your life are just miles and miles apart. That's it. That's the kind of spiritual motion sickness our sources are talking about. Okay, so our first section is all about this, the disconnect within. And what's wild is that our sources frame this as anything but a new problem. This isn't some modern issue we just came up with. It's a deep internal conflict that people have been wrestling with for literally thousands of years. And this is where it gets fascinating, because it connects the ancient past directly to us, right now. You had the prophet Isaiah calling out the entire nation of Israel. He said, "You worship with your lips, but your hearts, they're somewhere else entirely." And our sources say, hey, look in the mirror. We face the exact same thing. We might say we're a Christian, but inside, our minds, our emotions, they're just all over the place, totally out of sync with what we claim to believe. And listen to this powerful personal take on that modern disconnect. This isn't some abstract idea. This is real life. It's about that emotional whiplash where the people you live with, your own family, have no idea who they're going to get from one minute to the next. It's that awful feeling of being completely out of control of your own inner world. And the fallout from this disconnect? It's huge. On every possible scale. For ancient Israel, we're talking about national disaster, judgment, and exile. For the world, it meant being left in darkness. And for us, personally, well, it leads to those desperate, isolating moments. You know the ones, the pity parties on the bathroom floor, feeling like your emotional roller coaster has just completely derailed. So, after painting this pretty bleak picture of instability, both sources make a hard pivot. They stop and ask the most important question of all: is there a way back to solid ground? Is there a path out of all this chaos? Is it even possible to find that stability we are so desperate for? All right, section 2, the way of holiness. And the answer our sources give us, it's not just some abstract idea or a nice concept. It's a path, a very specific road they call the way of holiness, which they say is described in ancient scripture as the one thing that promises to lead us directly out of the storm and onto solid ground. And they get specific. They call it a highway for the redeemed. The idea is that this is a special road, built by God himself, specifically for people who are looking to be rescued, looking to be put back together again. And just look at the contrast with the chaos we were just talking about. This road isn't dangerous or treacherous. It's safe and secure. It's not about emotional turmoil. It's about peace. Instead of shame, it's a noble path. And the destination? It's not another pity party on the bathroom floor. It's everlasting joy. What a difference, right? And here it is. This is the absolute linchpin of the whole thing. Stability isn't something you're supposed to just conjure up on your own. It's not something you achieve. No, according to this verse, God himself will be the stability of your times. He is the source of it. He is the very definition of solid ground when everything else is shaking. Okay, that's a huge idea. But if stability is a person, if it's a path, how do we actually walk on it? How do we go from being tossed around by the waves to actually becoming an anchor in our own lives? Well, that's what we're going to unpack right now in our final section. And our sources don't leave us guessing. They make the connection crystal clear. That ancient highway we read about in Isaiah, it's not just a nice metaphor. It's a person. Jesus, who literally said, "I am the way." So the path to stability? It's a person.
And check this out. Our other source says the exact same thing, just with a different metaphor. Jesus is the rock. And why? Because he's always stable. He doesn't change. He's not up one day and down the next. He is that constant, solid presence that we can actually cling to when everything else feels like it's falling apart.
Stability releases ability. Man, this is such a key takeaway. See, stability isn't the final destination. It's the foundation. It's not about being passive or boring, not at all. It's the secure platform you need to finally operate at your full potential. Without it, you're just surviving. But with it, that's when you can truly start to thrive. And Joyce Meyer's own life is a powerful, real-world example of this principle in action. I mean, look at her journey. It starts with a childhood filled with abuse and abandonment, feeling worthless. That leads to a young adulthood of total emotional chaos and those pity parties we talked about. But then she hears God's call on her life. And the big shift, the turning point for her, wasn't just about gritting her teeth and trying harder. It was about learning to cooperate with God to find that stability inside. And that is what unlocked her ability to fulfill her purpose and go on to help millions of people. So what does that cooperation actually look like on a practical level? Well, the sources break it down into 4 really clear, intentional choices you can make. Number 1, get rid of that old, small thinking. Number 2, make a conscious decision to put your confidence in God, not in what you see around you. 3, resist the enemy, that negative thought, that fear, right when it shows up, before it has a chance to spiral. And number 4, do good by choice, not just because you feel like it. And that brings us to our final thought. And honestly, it might be the most important one. Because after all this talk about paths and choices and highways, the sources are really clear on one thing. This deep, life-changing stability, it's not an achievement. It's not something you earn. It's a gift. It's just being offered to you. So the real question isn't how hard you can work to get it. The real question is, what would it mean for you, right here, right now, to just open your hands and receive it?